the ability to have somebody who is kind of epitomizes what you think your country stands for has always been a major ambition.
Princess Anne has dropped a bombshell regarding Queen Camilla's position in the monarchy. The late Queen's only daughter has made some claim that brings interesting points to the ongoing discussion about Camilla's position next to King Charles III and how she is weathering the crown's burden. Anyway, what are these claims? And how honest is Princess Anne's opinion regarding her sister-in-law's makeover within the royal fold? Join us as we uncover Princess Anne's surprising revelation about Queen Camilla that took the world by storm, a radical change in royal dynamics. For a long time, Princess Anne was said to have some cool towards Queen Camilla, a phenomenon which supposedly began in 2005, when Camilla joined the royal family as a full member of Charles's wife. Then everyone thought that Anne's seeming cool came from a deep-seated distrust, possibly silent disapproval, of Camilla's role within the monarchy, especially considering the highly publicized past between Charles, Camilla, and former Princess Diana. However, almost 2 decades after, what could be referred to as a radical change has occurred. In a new 90-minute documentary that was released recounting King Charles's first year on the throne, Anne, formerly the no-nonsense pillar of the House of Windsor, provided a refreshingly honest appraisal of Camilla as queen. In the movie titled "Putting the Royal Family Under a Behind-the-Scenes," an intimate microscope for the first time ever caught a glimpse of Anne that few had ever seen before. One that not only recognized Camilla's efforts, but was cheering them on. As a matter of fact, this was shocking news considering Anne's earlier firm opinions regarding the monarchy's evolution.
My mother was the queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen, you don't really think about it very much. Not least of all because the monarchy is about constant.
A longtime supporter of the conventional arrangement of the royal family, Anne had earlier complained about Charles's plans for a slimmed-down monarchy.
But I think for my brother, this is something he's been waiting for. And he's probably spent more time thinking about it.
To learn that she was now speaking in support of Camilla's position had some weight, and one that informed everyone that her endorsement was not easily granted. What were her exact words? And has this been reflected in the way the royals treat Queen Camilla? A steady and reliable presence. In the new documentary, Charles III, The Coronation, Anne spoke of her long history with her sister-in-law and commented on how far Camilla understands the importance of her role, not for herself, but in the hugely significant manner in which she supports King Charles III. In her opinion on Camilla's position, Anne was not reluctant to admit that being queen consort was initially not a natural fit for her sister-in-law. Anne asserted in the film that she had known Camilla a long time here and there, before she continued to offer praise for the way Camilla had adapted. Her understanding of the role and the separateness from the king himself have been impressive, she conceded. This is not one role that one would ever think of her doing, but she does it exceptionally well. More poignant, however, was Anne's acknowledgement of the special energy Camilla lends to the monarchy. In her no-nonsense way, Princess Royal noted that Camilla might not have been born into this position, but she had been a steady and reliable presence nevertheless, one who introduced a change of speed and tone, something Anne valued as every bit as important as carrying out the essential duties of the crown. Anne's surprising endorsement has certainly added a great deal of acceptance to Camilla's reign's public image. For such a respected and influential person as the Princess Royal, a woman whose commitment to royal duty has never faltered over decades, to bestow her approval is a sea change. Not only does it secure Camilla's position in the royal establishment, but it indicates that even those who might have doubted her role in the past have come to adore what she is doing. Queen Camilla, in a restrained and submissive manner, is reported to have long basked in Anne's occasional public approbation. Awarded by a royal who has otherwise been estranged, even delicately distant from her, this lone second of acknowledgement may hint at a watershed, not merely for Camilla's path as queen, but for the entire public standing of her reign. However, the Princess Royal is still as candid as ever. So how do her words measure her profound admiration for her brother and her respect for the woman by his side? Upholding royal protocols and respect. Even though Anne was born into the royal family of the late Queen, royal precedence has Camilla, the current Queen, higher. On that light-hearted moment, once devoid of tradition, Princess Anne received the humorous teasing of Queen Camilla inside a most unusual reciprocal engagement witnessed on the foundation day of the University of London on November 20th, 2024. The ceremonious occasion saw Anne, the Chancellor of the University, awarding her sister-in-law an honorary doctorate to honor Camilla's service, along with 4 other worthy recipients. But the huge exchange of witticisms had many heads turning. Camilla was always polite, but just before the beginning of the ceremony, she did something surprising, asking Anne to go first. While seemingly the sweet action, it quietly contravened the ironclad royal precedence that dictates precedence over Princess Royal on any formally observed occasion today with a grace given by royalty. Anne responded with equal wit and tact by playfully declining with a twinkling smile, which basically said that tradition took precedence and invited Camilla to go first. The whole instance was quick, but very representative. At that moment, Anne's long-held respect for the traditions of the monarchy was duly honored, as was the warmth and confidence shared by the 2 women. Standing about, the 2 women took their places at the back of a short line, while Camilla did her signing in the visitor's book for the sake of official propriety. This is a standard moment of courtesy among the members of the royal family, yet it has given just enough public airing to help share a joke among those strange gentlemen. Then, regardless of royal protocol, an occasion for merriment was celebrated, and Anne was brought into their midst to highlight the achievements of her sister-in-law. The moment, short but revealing, offered not only a vision of the traditions that prescribe the monarchy, but what other interpersonal dynamics are even more interesting in the relationships between the 2. Confrontations on the title Queen. The recent friendship of Queen Camilla and Princess Anne is not an outcome of some good years or incidents. It is based on a number of long-hedged routines that groomed the 2 royal women for years. But quite recently, particularly since the coronation ceremony on May 6, 2023, such tensions are alleged to have cropped up again in a big way, especially for Queen Camilla's title. Initially, it was made known to her before her death by the Queen's mother that after Camilla's coronation, she would be styled Queen Consort. But after the ceremony, she began to call herself and be called by others a queen, without adding the adjective consort preceding it. This apparent but insignificant detail did not sit well with Anne, who persuaded Camilla to clear her name on the issue. David Emanuel, a former dress designer for Princess Diana, said Anne made her views known following the coronation at a dinner party. He remembered her saying to Camilla point-blank, "You're not queen, you're the queen consort," which showed that she did not have much favor for the title adjustment. This clearing of the air, so to speak, showed Princess Anne's respect for her late mother's practical royal protocol and respect for royal titles. Still, it seemed to generate tension that Anne was one of the only members of her family who would talk about her unhappiness concerning the promotion from the title of Queen Consort to that of a queen as something that had come so readily with the arrival of Queen Elizabeth's passing. This meeting was in line with Anne's perception of the monarchy, as she is quite old-fashioned and needs to uphold the dignity of the mother she lost, the deceased Queen Elizabeth II. Although Camilla's application of the word queen appears to be lightweight to a non-Briton, it is a word heavy with meaning within the British monarchy's pecking order, which is so concerned with titles, ranks, and dynasties. That is the reason why Anne prefers Elizabeth's strict adherence to the instructions and no further deviance, bringing to mind her compulsive follow-through on the procedure, which discomfits her about any such deviance. Camilla's coronation as Queen Consort brought together any lingering stigma that still clung to Camilla as a senior member of the royal family and cemented her. But this also means that some family splits are still far from being completely mended. Anne, traditionally the quieter of the two but also old-fashioned about royal duty and dignity, is uneasy about Camilla's desire to become the queen. In public life, and perhaps also in private life, there is an argument regarding royal titles and what these imply. It is all at Buckingham Palace. Anyway, what other incident has brought the royal princess and Queen Camilla to loggerheads? Intertwined love affairs. In the early 1970s, a love blossomed between Princess Anne and Andrew Parker Bowles, further complicating her life with Camilla, the woman who would later become the queen consort. While both Anne and Andrew seemed to be in a real affair, it was very quickly nipped in the bud by the royal family. The reason was that he was a Catholic, and being a Church of England member, Anne was prohibited by the Church's strict rules on interfaith marriage from marrying Andrew. Hence, the future was closed for them, and although it didn't end immediately, it played a major role in the gradual decline of their relationship. Of course, Anne and Andrew's romance came to an end, but soon after Andrew met Camilla, their lives completely changed. The announcement of his engagement to Camilla came in 1973, and that set the stage for what has since been a divinely preordained marriage. The marriage ceremony took place on July 4th, 1973, at the Guards Chapel, the chapel of choice for royal weddings. Some of those present at the St. James's Palace reception included the Queen Mother, Princess Margaret, and not surprisingly, Princess Anne herself. Since Anne attended the wedding, there was much speculation about what her feelings were. No one ever knew what she felt, however. Many would not be dissuaded from wondering. The timeline of Andrew and Camilla's new whirlwind romance, which quickly followed the end of his relationship with Anne, would have given rise to feelings of jealousy or even resentment. Their swift engagement and speedy marriage seemed to move much faster than whatever relationship Andrew had shared with Anne, causing some to wonder if the suddenness of it all stung. The event seemed to be of celebration. However, within it coursed an undercurrent of history, impossible to disentangle, tying together Princess Anne and Camilla in sometimes uncomfortable and complex ways. In a family where personal feelings often get blurred into obligations and public expectations, they together would create from here on third. Their connection, and the man they shared in their past, greatly alters the outlines of the relationship in years to come. For Camilla, Anne, and Andrew, that dynamic set in the 1970s provides a fascinating insight into royal life, love, and rivalry. Again, what other tale remains marked by subtle tensions beneath the surface for these two royals? Love with the royals. The relationship between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla has often been quite complicated, with intertwined lives, duties, and royal life entangled in complex knots. Nonetheless, it seems apparent that Princess Anne's decisions in life, whether directly or not, contributed somehow to Camilla's being able to enjoy her love with King Charles III. In the 1990s, Princess Anne was the first in the royal family to be openly divorced from her husband, Captain Mark Phillips. She then married Commander Timothy Lawrence, the man with whom she had had an affair. This break from royal tradition was unprecedented in terms of the British monarchy's centuries-old charm of moral uprightness. Thus, Anne's public move on from her marriage and marrying her lover soon after her divorce was a rocking moa silently rendered an honor to the royal family. That path became essential for Camilla, for she was the real mistress of Charles, carrying on an affair even throughout his marriage to Diana Spencer. Since the affair and the ensuing public uproar had cast a long pall over Camilla being seen in the royal family, her acceptance had always been that much more difficult. Camilla never had a very stable standing, even after Diana's death and Charles's divorce. It was only in 2005, after their marriage, that acceptance began for her by the public and the royal family. Without the remarkable example of Anne as a royal who could divorce and marry her friend while facing some social fallout, but not complete ostracism, Charles and Camilla's way would certainly have been made difficult. Anne, by promoting divorce and remarriage, at least started a new concept through which royalty could begin to live their lives with some amount of authenticity while still complying with duty and public expectations. Though problem areas were strengthened by the shared male history in the middle, they would have also helped each other somehow. Anne's choice to embrace her relationship with Timothy Lawrence was revolutionary, for it showed that even love that was controversial could prevail against royal conventions. Through that, in some way, Camilla was encouraged to take it upon herself to marry Charles, having thus far been in a covert will-they-won't-they love story with him for so long. Their intertwined scandalous tales of love and survival will see the evolution of the royal family in terms of understanding love, loyalty, and personal happiness. Moreover, are there ways Princess Anne has tried to show Queen Camilla that she's more royal? Stealing the show. Few could easily make Princess Anne the focus of the event, an event more grand than the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, which took place on May 6, 2023. However, attention was supposed to be focused on the new monarchs, especially the concerned. Limited were the displays on this most regal but impotent jade bangle of an event. Yet, in the glorious march, the differences between Anne and Camilla, comical to the point of knife's edge, made the Princess Royal's entrance one of the highlights of the day. Queen Camilla looked smart and immaculate in an elegant and simple ivory dress. After that special moment between them, she stepped out to pose beside her husband. As always, her hair swept back, and the rest of her face carried the weight of quiet strength. Later, Camilla and Charles made an extravagant emergence from Westminster Abbey, encased in the fairy tale-like gold state coach, while the newly anointed Queen and King waved at the assembled grins and cheerful people, perfectly showing the royal elegance of the event. Contrary to Princess Anne, the side effects of another energy are confidence, assertiveness, and personal fury. Arriving atop the horse, Anne made her grand official entry in an entire military uniform adorned with medals and tallest among other costumes donned by the military, as well as a royal figure. This is because she acted as the king's representative to his subjects during such occasions, to prevent any doubts over her loyalty, and establish her place within the royal clan as a gold stick in waiting, a title of great historical significance. Her image of sitting astride a horse commanding a battalion of 6,000 troops said all that needed to be said about her, especially her sense of duty. However, Anne's entrance caught the attention and admiration of most guests comfortably seated in Westminster Abbey. It brought back memories of Princess Royal of independence and willpower, embellishing her distinctions from a much more conventional image of what a royal family member should be like, nobly dressed in military garments and walking down the aisle. She made it pretty clear that she was extremely confident to the point of sucking respect and attention from the masses. Few could ignore the power that was offered up by Anne, even on a day meant strictly to celebrate Charles and Camilla. Charles and Camilla were spotted the day after the coronation, along with a large part of the royal family, at a gala event in which Lionel Richie and Katy Perry performed for the enjoyment of the crowd. Much to the irritation of Zara Tindall and her husband Mike and Anne Phillips and her son Peter Phillips with girlfriend Lindsay Wallace, Princess Anne decided to forego this significant social event and get a little rest and recuperation. After all, Anne did have an official engagement and an early start the next day, which could easily explain her decision. Anne's feelings about attending, own very much save for a concert for and in honor of Charles and Camilla, almost maintain her attitude towards working royals. Nevertheless, what truth endures about Princess Anne's relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles? Continuous love, moments over the years. For all the history, drama, awkward moments, and tense body language, Queen Camilla and Princess Anne have fortunately been able to share some lighthearted moments. Their Christmas Day church service back in 2019 was in such contrast with the history, drama, awkward moments, and tense body language. Both women synchronously donned beautiful purple-themed dresses that day. Near the moment Camilla observed that she was dressed the same as Anne as they approached each other in church, she elbowed and shoved Anne with rare public clannish affection and made a quip about it. Both women could be seen laughing, something many royal watchers noted. A body language analyst, Judy James, remarked on the joyous nature of this incident, particularly for Anne, whose public appearances are mostly serious, if not unforgiving. James commented, "With Anne, the royal smile was conspicuous. Anybody else would have made it a non-event. Indeed, the smile and laughter were rare for Anne, but the warmth was to be completely expected from any other royal." This is not to say that those funny moments alone tell the whole tale. The lighter moments bring into focus how royal protocol and the common history shared between the two come into play. With the death of the Queen's mother and the ascension of King Charles as ruling monarch, the tables have been turned with Camilla's coronation as Queen Consort, on who bows before whom in terms of consideration and etiquette. Page 6 reported, "When greeting the king, one bows or curtsies and says, 'Your Majesty,' and then says 'Sir' thereafter." Presently crowned, Camilla is not to bow to any member of the royal family, Princess Anne among them. However, she may wish to courtesy with respect to royal heads. Still, in practice, it is far more complicated than it actually looks. Royal ranking had long set the precedent. A deviation in the order of precedence was set into motion by Queen Elizabeth II in 2005, ostensibly at the instigation of Princess Anne and Princess Alexandra. Hello. Magazine and Daily Mail have alleged that a rule called Precedents of the Royal Family in Court examined the status of born princesses, such as Anne, versus that of married princesses, for example, Camilla. Context was the motivator behind this shift in order. Anne's loyalty for so many years would, as a royal, make her a worthy contender. Thus, ostensibly, she is not willing to bow to anybody she considers an intruder in the royal customs. However, for some members of the public and some royal family members, adaptation, including Anne, is not negotiable. Customs had to change over the years in the royal family. After her wedding to Charles in 2005, it was no secret that Camilla was not popular with most royal family members, and Anne was not in favor of Camilla either. Camilla, in particular, was very cold towards Princess Anne and made no bones that she would not be curtsying to her, a former courtier revealed to the Daily Mail. Certainly, after the king's command, where emphasis must have been laid on her husband's position, they would have strengthened her initial disregard for Camilla. Despite the not-so-obvious tensions, the Christmas service incident provides some evidence that the two women's bridges have somewhat mended. If this is so, then Anne has begun to appreciate Camilla's ability to take her position with dignity and humor. It appears that both women have created an understanding rather than a relationship due to their royal tasks. Do you think Princess Anne and Queen Camilla have shared a twisted history that only two women in the royal family can? And do you think these two may somehow be at odds for the foreseeable future? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.